Welcome to Safe and Sound, sponsored by White Mountain Fire and Life Safety. Today on the show, we have Kirk Webb, the Community Risk Manager for Timber Mesa Fire, and Amy Stradling, the Injury Prevention Program Manager for Navajo County Public Health Services District. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Happy to have you guys. So, Amy, do you want to we'll just touch really quickly on what you do for Navajo County real quick?
Sure. I work for the Community Health Grant. And so we provide preconception health education to the community, as well as injury prevention, from safety messages for children, car seat safety classes, community events and education, and then also with the elderly, fall prevention.
And Kirk, you've been on here plenty of times, but just reintroduce yourself real quick, if you don't mind.
Kirk Webb, and I work with Timber Mesa Fire and Medical District. Of course, that's a new one that's the districts of Show Low, Lakeside, and Linden now merged all into one, and which I was the fire marshal for Lakeside Fire. But now with Timber Mesa, I do all of the fire education, fire prevention, public education, fire investigations, different things like that. So still a lot of things that I do. And one of the things working with Amy and the county health department, trying to cut down on injuries. Regardless of what age of the people are, and one of the things that we're focusing on is in the high schools and trying to improve our seatbelt usage with the teenagers.
And what is that program?
It's called Battle of the Belts.
Okay. And what is it exactly?
So we as White Mountain Fire and Life Safety members come together as a group to decide who all is participating. Then we divide up the high schools. And we go out as coalition members and do a pre-seatbelt survey at the beginning of the year, where we determine how many are wearing their seatbelt and how many are not. Then we take those statistics to our schools and offer to provide the program, allowing their student council and things to target motor vehicle safety and seatbelt use. And they choose whether they would like to participate or not. And then at the end of the year, the coalition members go back and determine if there was a usage in increase seatbelt rates or a decrease, or if it remained the same due to the students' activity.
How many years have you guys been doing this?
This will be our third year that we're going to be doing this. The first year, it was basically between Show Low schools and Blue Ridge schools. Those are the only two schools we got to kind of be involved with our pilot program type of deal. And Show Low schools was able to have the higher increase of usage. Our goal is to eventually get all schools up to 100% usage.
Oh, yeah.
But this last year, we had White River, Round Valley, Blue Ridge, and Show Low participating. And Round Valley actually came off with a higher percentage of increase of use. So, and like Amy was saying, we don't come and do all of the advertising of how to increase that. We have the kids trying to do this on their own. We get them to do the education, and we'll provide them with whatever help that we can, but we want them to create the incentives and encourage the students to, what is it going to take to increase that seatbelt usage and things like that. We just take care of doing the surveys at the beginning and the end and then determine what the rates are at that point.
So you guys go to the school, you show them, hey, we have this program that you guys can take part in. The kids, it's their responsibility to come up with ways to promote the program throughout the schools, and we will give you your statistics before and after.
Right.
Now, what's the normal, like when you start the first statistic comes out, what's usually what kids are wearing their seatbelt? How many so far, like in the beginning?
It's actually kind of alarming.
Okay.
The rates are usually 50% or under.
Oh, wow.
The pre-survey.
Oh man.
And it's been different per different schools too. I know with working with Blue Ridge schools, because myself and Kelly Wood from Pine Top Fire were the ones that did that school, and I think at the beginning of both years they were somewhere around 70%,
Oh wow.
and they've increased both times about 10 to 13%. Sholo was, I can't remember the exact statistics there, but the beginning of the year they seemed to be both about the same, right around that 50%. And then the first year they increased, the second year not so much. I think they only had about a 3% increase last year. So it varies, and I think a lot of it depends on how much activity the student council, because we usually take this to the student council group to have them be the ones, the catalyst to make this happen. So we kind of leave it up to them how they decide going on. So a lot of it depends on how active that student council is in going to the student body and saying, hey, I know that first year Sholo students, they had made posters, all kinds of things that they were doing, and they had a good response, and the kids started wearing, and I think there was even a crash that made them help stop and think about, maybe I should wear my seatbelt, things like that. So unfortunately, a bad event helps people realize to wear their seatbelts more often.
Yeah, but sadly, it doesn't last.
No.
They become complacent and forget. No, it's not a big deal. I mean, personally, not having my seatbelt is like leaving my phone at home. It's the same thing. I feel really uncomfortable. If I don't have my phone, my life is over. And if I don't have my seatbelt on, it's actually could be the same thing. Your life could be over. Now, is there anything that you provide the student bodies to use, like videos or pictures or anything? Does it get involved like that, or is this all 100% their commitment and their ideas of what they do?
Mostly their commitment and their ideas. If they do request assemblies and different things, then we'll help them gather that education and provide that.
Okay.
We've just found it's kind of better if they do their own creative thing. But this past year we had 7 schools participate, and the average increase was 3.75%. However, we had 4 schools that declined, and their seatbelt rate decreased 8.75%. So we find it does make a difference.
That's it's about safety, and it's saving your kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, the seatbelt saves you. I mean, I know that I've seen people that were thrown from a vehicle doing 25 miles an hour, and she got thrown out the back window, just ice, and just hit another car and thrown out the back window. I mean, it's common sense.
Well, and with us, we're in our position as emergency services. We come upon these wrecks and we see that. So we have a different viewpoint of. It's real easy for us to we're going to wear our seatbelts.
Absolutely.
We're going to make sure our kids wear our seatbelts. But the general public don't always see this, and so I think they get complacent.
Or they see it and it's too late because
right.
It's them.
And so that's where we're seeing where the schools that are actively participating, we generally do see an increase. And so we feel our program is working, and we're going to keep it going as much as we can.
Absolutely.
We're getting some good buy-in from state people, at the office, Governor's Office of Highway Safety, the Department of Health Services, the Injury Prevention Coalition. We got some great help coming from them, and we've created a little traveling trophy that's going to go from school to school. Whoever is the winner that year, type of deal. We also made a video PSA, public service announcement where the kids will actually create their own video commercials, and we've got a traveling trophy for that as well now.
Wow!
So that's something we just started this last year.
That's exciting.
So we'll get those videos put on as much as we can where we can.
Absolutely. That's exciting. Well, hopefully you can get them on Public Health Facebook page. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that probably won't be a problem. Well, that's awesome what you guys are doing for those kids. And I know that a couple years ago it actually saved one gentleman's life, and we had him come on here and he discussed that about how he had a rollover, and had he not had a seatbelt on, which he normally didn't do, he would not have made it. So, and if you save just one person's life, you're definitely doing your job. And I know that you've saved several so far. So thank you for coming on and talking to us about this, and keep it up. And parents at home know that it's August, your kids are going back to school, and they can be part of this, and support them, because it's important. Make sure that you lead by example and wear yours as well in front of your children. Thank you guys for coming on the show. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And a lot of good information. And we'll be right back with Jen Sense to talk about bus safety. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Safe and Sound. Joining Kirk and I now is Jen Sense, the transportation supervisor from the Blue Ridge School District. Welcome.
Thank you.
And welcome back.
Thanks.
And Jen, I'm excited to hear from you today. And I would like to start by just telling us a little bit about you and what you do for the transportation of Blue Ridge.
As of July 1, I took over transportation supervisor. Before that, I was a high school driver and went to a special needs driver, and then routing coordinator and dispatcher.
Oh, wow.
So
you've done it all.
Yes.
That's helpful, especially
Yes,
in a
it is.
supervisor position.
It is, and I can pretty much relate to the other drivers and what they're going through on a day-to-day basis, which helps out a lot with them.
And that's important, especially to have somebody, that relates. And
Yes.
sometimes it's just like, oh, no, just do it.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Your feet have been in those shoes.
Right.
So,
Well, and a bus driver is a special, unique person. They deal with the kids, the parents, the school staff. I mean, they got to deal with everybody. That takes a special personality to be able to do that job, and I admire them people.
I remember my bus driver from high school still. His name was Gary.
Oh.
And we listened to Paul Harvey on the way to school every day.
That's right.
And that's how I know Paul Harvey.
We tell them all the time they can make or break the kids' day. They're the first ones that they see in the morning before they go to school, and the last ones usually at night.
Oh,
So we're the first representative of the school, and we try our hardest to make it a good day for them.
Absolutely. Now, what is that? What is the day of the bus driver, we should say?
Most of us get there at about 5:30 in the morning. They have to pre-trip their buses and get them ready to go. And most of our routes start at about 6:10, 6:15 in the morning, and first runs are usually done by 8:30. And then they have a long gap in between, and they don't come back until about 1:45. And so they're dedicated for a 12-hour day for a 6-hour job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
It's
that.
hard. It's hard to keep them. It's hard, but we've got a great group of people. I call them the best dysfunctional family ever. So
Well, they're there for the kids.
they are. They love them, and not going to talk about pay or anything like that, but we're there for the kids. That's the
Absolutely.
main reason why we're there.
Now, with as a bus driver, what are some of the things that they have to do? I know they check the bus every morning. They have to check the bus.
They do every morning. Anytime there's a 2-hour gap, they have to recheck it again. So they're doing their pre-trips. They usually take about 30 minutes to check everything on the bus, the oils, everything, tires, all of it, seats, lights, make sure everything's functioning, and then get the mechanic out there if it's not.
How many buses do you guys manage?
We're going to have 14 routes this year. Without the trips, we usually have 4 to 5 more buses going whenever we have trips going on top of it. And 3 mechanics that can help us out when we need it.
And you guys communicate via radio?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And I can watch my buses on GPS.
Oh.
And tells me their speed and everything. So when we get phone calls, that's the first thing I go and check. When, they're doing 65 miles an hour, I check, and they're usually doing 45.
Yeah.
They don't jeopardize their CDL.
Oh, no,
most time
absolutely.
they try not to as hard as they can, but they're done. They can't go to driving school like most people can. That's points against them, and there are big hefty fines they have to pay.
Yeah. Is there seatbelts in buses? I
No.
know there wasn't when I.
Just
okay.
in our special needs buses.
Okay.
And I know your other segment was about that. We're pretty much big advocates against it for the school buses.
Yeah.
Just because if we can't have monitors on the bus, it becomes a weapon. The kids can smash each other with the seatbelts and
Oh, wow.
knock them out, and we wouldn't even know. We're a mobile classroom. Up to 3 classrooms can be in that bus, and you're trying to concentrate on the road more than anything.
Which is
So,
your number one.
Yes.
Well, and one of the things that I learned through my job was that buses are specially designed, and there's safety devices built into the buses, like the seats will actually have fall protection, and so in the event of a crash, that seat back has enough foam padding that it protects the student, and there's safer than without having a bus with seat belts. you know, because you don't have that monitoring capability to be able to watch that many students at one time. And so, and they're typically higher, the base of the floorboards where the floors are, where the kids are standing, is super strengthened, and so it withstands the forces of a crash. Even with big trucks hitting them and stuff like that, that compartment actually stays intact. And so there's a whole lot of safety that has gone into building the bus to keep it safe without having seat belts. And as a whole, I think the numbers are extremely low compared to, you know, however many fatalities compared to accidents as compared to other vehicles on the road.
Now, what are the rules of the bus?
Well, we try to get ours down to 3 basic rules. Whether it's rules or law, there's a difference. You know, basically, like you said, with the way that the buses are designed, if the kids are sitting properly, face forward, feet on the ground, they're in that bubble where they're protected a lot better than, you know, feet out in the aisle or them walking around the bus or anything like that. That's where we run into a lot of problems, the jumpers that jump from seat to seat. You know, it takes 1 second to slam on your brakes and, you know, they could get launched anywhere. But with our rules, it's just basically stay in your seat, stay quiet, and keep your hands to yourself. Those are our 3 rules. With laws and stuff, a lot of people, you know, we don't allow food and drinks on the bus. We do allow water, but we've had choking incidents before where they've, you know, tried to take a granola bar real quick, and we've had a choking incident with that, you know, and to try to pull over a bus in a safe spot to get to that student, it's pretty hard. So we ask that they don't, you know, do that. No animals on the bus. They try to sneak their little pet friends and for show and tell days and stuff like that. So,
oh wow,
yeah.
Now, and just so we have, I know that pet peeve of mine when I was with the fire department was people not pulling over. When we have our light, it's like, come on. I'm sure that there's some pet peeves with some drivers.
Yes.
What is good driver etiquette when you're dealing with the bus?
When you see the yellows come on, it's not speed up and hurry and get through. It's just like at your stop lights, the same thing. You know they're getting ready to stop, just stop. We have no routes right now that have crossovers where the students would cross from one side to the next. DPS has asked us not to have as many highway stops. There's some that we cannot avoid. We're down to 2 right now, and so we try to eliminate all the highway stops. But as soon as those yellows come on, just know that they're going to stop and stay back. Don't pull right up to the stop sign. I drove a sub route one day for one of my drivers, and this woman stopped right at the stop sign on the bus, which is, you know, probably 2 feet in. And the student was on the opposite side of the street in a subdivision, and the kid had to basically go around her hood to get, and then wedge his way between the bus to get through. I didn't know he was a crossover, so I wasn't expecting that either. But it's just stay back, try to stay the 10 feet back, and, you know, let the kids cross over, and the driver can signal the kid to when it's safe to come over and get on the bus.
Well, because if those are your kids, you want somebody to do that for your kids.
Exactly.
Is all it is.
Exactly.
So, and then what about the people on the other side of the street? Same thing? They
Same
stop?
thing. Unless there's a divided highway with a curb median, everybody needs to stop.
Okay. Yeah.
So that center lane doesn't work as a divided highway median.
No.
Yeah. No, that's true, and people treat it like that.
Exactly, and you know, I've been driving down the road and seeing the bus stop, and people just go flying by on the opposite direction, and it's like, really, come on, you know. That's a really easy way to get some people hurt.
It is.
Now, if people want to contact you or find ways to find out more information, where's the best way to send them?
We have a website, the Blue Ridge website, brusd.k12.az.us, and the transportation tab. We have a lot of links on there that can pull up the National Highway Transportation Safety. We have a lot of links that they can go to. Just for the start of school, though, it has a lot of good stuff for backpacks, put reflectors on them. There's just, try to be on time, try to get there 5 minutes early. We try to have a window when we're there, but we don't want the kids running up to the bus. We have a lot of blind spots that we can't see the kids, and especially when it's darker in the morning, it's hard for them to get there. The driver's going to leave, and he doesn't know that, you know, Johnny's running up behind them. So, you know, if they can be there early, that would be the best thing. And keep your information update with the schools. You know, we try to call. We have sleepers on the bus at time, and they'll get stuck with the poor secretaries for hours, you know, because we can't get a hold of a parent. And basically my biggest thing is alternative stops. That is try to keep it to one. And if you need to make other arrangements, have that person meet them at the bus stop so we're not losing kids. They're confused, we're confused. The teachers, they have a hard time as it is trying to keep up with where they're going this day. When we have 5 different stops to take them to, it doesn't work out so well. And that's most of the time when we have lost kids.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about that.
No, we usually take them back to school, and once again, I love her to death. Heather, the secretary at the elementary, has to take care of it for the rest of the night.
Well, and there's only certain people that these kids can be released
Right,
to.
exactly.
So, and if somebody's not on that list, they can't legally give them to
No.
that person. So you can't just send whoever you want, a nephew or cousin, or that doesn't work. It has to
No.
be somebody on that list.
And kinders aren't released at all unless there's a parent there. That's
smart.
yeah.
That's real smart. Well, and then you guys also do busing for games, right?
Yes.
Okay,
We
you
do
have that
trips
too.
as well. A little bit different with them. They have a lot further to go, and they usually pull over and let them take rest and stuff like that. But the drivers have to follow their laws too. They have a 10-hour driving day, 15-hour work day. That's all they can do. So we try to watch their times, and if they have a route the next morning. So it's fun. It's a nice little puzzle to work out.
Yeah, I guess so. And that's sadly that's how it is in a lot of places because of the economy. And,
Yes.
it does not help, and
No.
maybe someday we'll get the help that we need, so that
Yeah.
people actually get what they deserve. And those guys that everybody involved has our children in their hands, and we
Right.
do appreciate what they do. And I thank you so much for coming on the show and,
Thank you.
and giving this information. And I hope that people will take advantage of your website and be able to find out more information and teach their children to have good etiquette
Right.
themselves. So, and Kirk, thanks again. I appreciate you always coming on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Safe and Sound, and we will see you next month.